In this video, I'm going to show you how to simplify expressions involving surds. But generally speaking, anytime you're dealing with operations such as addition or subtraction and you're working with the square root of a number, so something of that form or of the form a root b, it's very easy to just say let the square root of a be x. And then you can just use your knowledge of algebraic addition or subtraction to simplify the problem. So I'll demonstrate it with all the examples actually. So let's start with the first one. So we have the square root of 2 plus the square root of 2. So what I'm going to do is just say let the square root of 2 be equal to x. So the problem is therefore x plus x, which is 2x. So my answer is 2, and what is x? The square root of 2. So the answer is 2 root 2. For part 2, we have 3 root x. So x is just a variable, it could be any number, plus the square root of x. In this case, I'm going to say let the square root of x be y. So the question is really 3y plus y, which you know is 4y. So our answer is 4 times what is y? Root x. 4 root x. For part 3, we have 5 root y minus 2 root y. So I'm just going to replace the square root of y with, I'm going to say let the square root of y be anything. I'm going to say let it be a. So the given expression is, or can be written as 5a minus 2a, which is equal to 3a, where a is the square root of y. So it's 3 times a, which is 3 times the square root of y, and that's the result. So this is 2 root 2, this is 4 root x, this is 3 root y, and then here we have the square root of 18 plus the square root of 8. Now this would be easier to solve if these two expressions were in terms of the square root of the same number. So if I have something like, I'll give you an example. The square root of a plus 2 times the square root of a is 3 root a. You can use this algebra approach and you get there. But you have the square root of a plus the square root of b. It's not so easy to solve directly. And that's kind of the situation we have here. In this case, 18 will be a and 8 will be b. So what can we do? Well, you need to notice that the square root of 18 is the same thing as the square root of what? Well, 18 is the same thing as 9 times 2, which means that we can write it as the square root of 9 times the square root of 2, which is equal to 3 root 2. What about the square root of 8? The square root of 8 is the same thing as the square root of, what is 8? 4 times 2. So I can write this as the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. So just in case you're not aware, anytime you have a situation of the form the square root of a times b, you can rewrite it as the square root of a times the square root of b. This also applies if you have, say, the square root of a times b times c is the same thing as square root of a times square root of b times square root of c. So moving on, what's the square root of 4? That's 2. 2 times root 2 is 2 root 2. So the given problem, the square root of 18 plus 8 is the same thing as 3 root 2 plus 2 root 2, which is equal to 5 root 2. So in the original problem, we have the square root of two numbers, but the numbers aren't the same. So I now reduce it to a problem where the square root term is the same in both, or let's put it this way, both terms have the square root of the same number in them. So it's easier to manipulate because from here I just jumped, well, I said 3 root 2 plus 2 root 2 is 3 plus 2, which is 5, and then you just keep the root 2. Alternatively, you could have said let root 2 be x, so it's 3x plus 2x, which is 5x, and x is root 2, so it's 5 root 2.